In our age of advanced technology.
And I'm doing great today, Dr. Ed. What's up?
People are naturally attracted to those who are authentic.
I always knew I would do something big. I knew I was built to do something special.
It led over time to a pretty dark place.
As soon as my feet hit the ground in the morning, I've made a choice not to stop unless I'm asleep.
You know, I'm a 22-year overnight success.
How do I find the freaking jack to get to the next level?
Sean, how you doing today?
I'm excellent. Thanks for having me on the program.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm just, we spoke on a podcast that I do as well. It feels like years ago, but it's been about 18 months on the Chiropractic Philanthropist. And it was and still is one of the most popular episodes that I've ever done. And I got to tell you, I still get comments from people as well that listen and talk about how genuine and authentic you are and what an inspiration you are. And for those who are listening right now, and, they don't know who Sean Stephenson is, can you tell us a little bit about you, a little bit about your humble beginnings, and then tell us also about what you're doing today? Like, where are you in your business, online business specifically today?
So I'll tell you about a project, and I actually rather send them to this project than the other one that I just told you about, for people that are interested. So question one was like a little bit about me. Is that correct?
You got it. Tell us about you.
Yeah. So I am a therapist. I have been a practicing therapist for about 16 years now. I've been a professional speaker for about 22 years, but I'm not your traditional speaker therapist. I'm about 3 feet tall, and I'm also in a wheelchair because of rare bone disorder, and grew up with a lot of challenges physically, fractured multiple times, about 200 times. I've broken my bones since I've been, born, and, being in this container, you can imagine, has a lot of interesting days to it, but I've just decided to not let my condition or anything for that matter stop me in my life. I've gone on to work at the White House. I've authored a book that's been translated in over 12 different countries, or different languages, I should say. And now, between my online presence, we've reached hundreds of millions now of people online to do what I call rid the world of insecurity. And I think that insecurity is the greatest enemy to our greatness.
Sean, why was it so important, or was there even a pivotal moment for you where you just said, look, I need to be my own boss. I need to be an entrepreneur, and more importantly, the online entrepreneur. Was there a pivotal moment?
Well, I actually became an entrepreneur for survival, not out of interest. I applied to work at 3 different companies, and each of them turned me down for very stupid, blatantly discriminating reasons. And I was really kind of upset because I wanted an ordinary job. This is when I was younger, I should say. I just was so desperately asking God or the universe, whatever you want to call it, can I just be an ordinary guy? Can I have a boring, ordinary job? And I couldn't get it. I could not, for the life of me, get a boring, ordinary job. And so then I got asked to speak to a school about what it was like to have a disability. And they said, if you do this, we'll pay you $75. And this was in the early 90s. And I was like, oh, for 1 hour, you're going to pay me $75? Okay, that's awesome. And that grew from speaking to schools, to hospitals, to government agencies, prisons, companies, conferences, associations. It just kept growing and growing, and the fees kept going up the more supply and demand. The more my schedule got squeezed, the more I could charge, and the more people wanted me, the more I could charge. And I didn't even know I was an entrepreneur. I just recently learned how to spell the darn word. And it just kind of came out of recognizing that I would not make a good employee because I'm not an ordinary person. I'm always somebody who's trying to reach for extraordinary. And so I've built my own company. We have our own employees, and we're here to rid the world of insecurity. And I wouldn't have it any other way. And, as far as the online part of it, I just looked at how I could reach the masses. I mean, there's 8 billion people on this planet. And, if you're lucky, maybe you get to reach about 250,000 people a year as a speaker. But I wanted to reach far more than that. And so I started doing online videos, like a video podcasting and doing audio podcasts, and just started growing a social media following. And, we have almost 1 million followers now on our social media sites. And, I've had videos go viral and been viewed almost about 200 million times.
Yeah, I mean, the last I checked, one of your videos was like 66 million views. I mean, that's crazy. 66 million.
If you add in all the number of people that have downloaded it and re-uploaded it on their pages, it's well over 200 million, actually.
How do you feel about that, Sean? People downloading it and then re-uploading it, by the way. How do you feel about that?
Well, it all leads back to me, right? And so we live in a downloadable world. And, that was a free video I put out there to spread. So it doesn't so much bother, as long as they don't mess with the original content, they don't mess with the constitution of it, if you will. We're okay with it. And, we would prefer to have permission asked of us, as well as them put a link to find out more to our site. Sometimes that happens, sometimes it doesn't. But to be able to reach 200 million people, that is kind of unfathomable.
Yeah, and I'll be honest with you. Some of your videos, I watched them 2 or 3 times, especially the ones where you have a really, like, your sense of humor. It's incredible. I saw one that you did with Alex Sharfin, maybe not as viewed as many times, about pressure and noise. Mm-hmm. And then I saw one also that you did of Gary Vaynerchuk.
Yep, Gary.
Yeah, that was incredible. What did he think of that video, by the way? What did he tell you?
The one that I spoofed him?
Yes.
Yeah, he loved it. I mean, he was flattered. I mean, they say imitation is the best form of flattery. And so I actually showed it to him and all of his employees real time. He didn't know we did it. And we filmed it unbeknownst to him. And then once I addressed his whole company with him on a live stream, he had all 5 of his offices watching. I showed it to him live, and he loved it. He laughed his butt off.
Well, I mean, I think that's a great takeaway for listeners right now. Again, the aspiring entrepreneur, especially the online entrepreneur, is that the power that Facebook Live has right now, and the power that direct upload video to Facebook too is just incredible. Especially, and you're the prime example of that. Sean, if you could say, like, in your current business today, if you're experiencing some resistance, some challenges, what would that greatest challenge that you're experiencing right now, what would that be?
For me?
Yeah, specifically.
Okay. Yeah, specifically me, I would just say 2 things is implementation. There's so many things to do. And having the team around me be prepped and ready to implement what needs to be done and done on time. Implementation, automation, keeping things automated, things can fall through the cracks. We have so many different projects and products and services now that keeping track of them all is like juggling multiple items. And when you throw in a new one, it's a harder level of skill set that you need to master. So keeping things implemented properly, automated properly, so that they're working in the background when you're not even having to think about it anymore. And now just that there's this whole new thing that showed up when this video went viral, privacy. I'm a very public person, and I try to be as personable and as down to earth as possible. But I'm finding when you start to be recognized everywhere you go, every moment you're out. I mean, that video being as popular as it was, even internationally, now every city I travel to, people are coming up wanting to take photos with me, stop me and ask me, can you do this for me? Can you do that for me? And just having the boundaries of privacy to say, sorry, I'm having to go to dinner with my family right now, or If it's appropriate, yes, we can take a photo, but just one. And keeping a little professional distance is a new thing for me because I've always been open and wanted to be accessible to the world. But that was before the world fully knew who I was. And by no means do I act like I'm some kind of Brad Pitt celebrity, face and name recognition. But, when you have a video go as viral as we have, or videos go as viral, now whether I'm going to Walmart to pick up paper towels or a drive-through or an airport, somebody in that grouping of people have seen me.
So if we want to get like really specific, Sean, and talk about that, that viral video or any of the results of those videos that you've been creating, because I think this is, again, something that I'm pulling from the conversation for those aspiring entrepreneurs. What are the direct results you've seen on your business for having a video that goes and has 66 million views and upwards?
Yeah. So the impact is not a direct correlation to it made me this amount of dollars. It's more about raising the overall visibility. So therefore our market price went up, if you will, because now more people know about me. So when, every time somebody sees you, it's called an impression, right? And if they've seen you on your TED Talk, they've seen you on that viral 2-minute Post-it note video, they've seen you on a podcast, they've seen you on a live stage, each time is an impression. The more people see you, the more they consider you to be a notable expert on the planet or a notable, public figure, if you will. So we're able to charge more for our speaking engagements. We're able to sell more tickets online for my live events. My ebook sales skyrocketed the days that video had caught fire. I mean, that video went up 1 million views an hour. And that is just kind of hard to fathom. And it didn't level out till, I think it's at like 68 or 69 million, on our end. But it didn't level out till about like 65 million. So it just skyrocketed the first week to like, I want to say 40 million in the first week. So it's, just also, ebook sales and, when you get something that's that visible and then now they go to see something to buy from you, they're like, yeah, that's right. I've seen this person before. And it breeds familiarity, and familiarity in business builds trust.
Yeah. I mean, it definitely in online business world you want to nurture the relationship with people who are fans and followers, right? I mean, often they're going to, I think it's like 6 to 10 times they're going to view or see something or before they actually maybe pull the trigger and actually, buy something of yours or invest in one of your programs or your products. What is it that you would say is when you meet the aspiring or the entrepreneur, they're fledgling, they're just starting out. What is it that drives you absolutely bonkers, the misconceptions that they often have?
Well, nothing drives me bonkers about other people. Only things that I do drive me bonkers because I know everybody's doing the best they can with what they have and what they know. It drives me nuts to look at where we're falling short in our business. We're leaving things on the table. That drives me bonkers. When I look at others, I roll my eyes slightly maybe when people they think that they're going to enter into something and overnight be a multimillionaire. They think that cash is going to come quick. Cash can come quick if you are, one of those unicorns that has an idea that is just perfectly timed and that you have the right resources and are in the right positioning. Yes. Do I think it happens to most people? No. I think most people have to figure out and bump their head quite a few times to realize, oh, I guess this isn't like everybody gets out of college and gets to become a .com millionaire. So I think that how quickly people think they're going to get wealth makes me roll my eyes. I also think that, people look at me and they're like, wow, you're really lucky. So the word luck is funny to me because they'll say, gosh, 68 million views on a video. That you struck gold. Well, not really, because I've been on social media for over 10 years, publishing multiple videos a week. We probably have a couple thousand videos online, some, on different sites and such. And we've dialed in what people like, what people don't like. So, I'm a 22-year overnight success. And, I'm never fully satisfied with where we are. And that's what keeps driving us to do more and be more for the planet. But yeah, quick cash. People think that they need to get lucky and that somebody's going to come save them. This was the biggest thing that I fell prey to, which is you think somebody externally, I got a manager now, or I hired a new sales guy, or we just hired a copywriter, or we're using a new graphic designer. No person outside or inside your company is going to make you big money. It's going to be you positioning those people, training those people, and watching over them consistently. There is no such thing as passive income. When people say, oh, it's passive, I'm making money on the beach while I'm on my laptop. Yes, but you had to do a lot to get that started. And you have to do a lot to kind of look it over. I mean, even if you own a lot of real estate property and people are paying in, you still have to have property managers and you still have to watch over the property managers. Nobody gets rich by just dropping an idea in the record player and walking away for the rest of their life. Not that I've seen.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. One of the things you're kind of touching on here is consistency. You have been consistent in your content and the value you put out there for your fans and followers too. So
yeah, and I could do a much better job. Honestly, I don't feel that consistent. But in comparison to most, I probably am. I just feel like the more you can dial it in, people go throughout their whole life not being able to count on much. They can't maybe count on I was going to say president, but they can't count on their leaders. They can't count on their parents, or they can't count on their children. They can't count on their spouse. Like, sometimes they're going to be, get taken care of. Sometimes they're not. But when there's something that they can set their watch to, like American Idol comes on at X time, or, Sean's podcast comes on this day. When people can start to set their watch to things, they feel more and more at ease. And even if what you put out sucks, if you're consistent about it, it actually gives you a leg up over somebody who's really good, but has no consistency.
Yeah, I've definitely put out some programs. I even had a conversation with a doc who mentioned that I put out a program like 2 years ago and it tanked. It was horrible, but it was actually just a stepping stone to where I am today. Sean, would you say that, like, if for the person like that is listening right now and they're struggling in their business, would you say that pretty much anyone has an opportunity to make it online?
Sure. Yeah. I'll tell you a couple things. So one is making it in any area of business. The biggest part is mental. It's the psychology of knowing that you have something of value and getting the right coaching from people, getting the right mentorship, because I went years making a lot of mistakes in my business. And then I started spending money on really good business coaches, branding consultants, marketing experts, sales experts. And the more I acquired skill sets, the better off I was. So first and foremost, you got to get your head right. And online is great because the overhead is practically zero. I mean, when you're offering an information-based company, you're not having to house, in a warehouse stuff. You're not having to fulfill stuff physically. If you don't have a good launch of an info product, it's not as painful as like rolling out 30,000 units of a physical gadget, if you will. And then they get sent back to you and some are broken and all that. It's so much easier to have an info-based product, an online-based company today. I always tell people that you need to get your head right. I have an ebook that I'd like to plug right now that gives people in the right psychology. Do you mind if I plug it?
Absolutely. Go ahead.
Okay. So it's called How to Stay Positive When Life Gets Crazy. And people can go to it by going to staypositive.club, like golf club, staypositive.club. And then for a small investment, they can get access to my ebook that walks you through how do you get in the right psychology. Because if you're not positive in your day-to-day activities in your business, you will fail. If you just start going into a negative mindset and your frame is all about what's not working, what I don't want, what I don't have, what I don't like, you just get bogged down and it's really hard to succeed.
Awesome. Thank you for that. I love it. And, actually, we're going to put a clickable link for that as well on the laptoplifestylepodcast.com website. So we'll have a webpage dedicated to our discussion with Sean today. So LLP listeners, you can actually head over there. And Sean, just before we kind of wrap things up for you today, even in our pre-chat, we talked about another incredible resource that you have that's coming up in August. And that's 10K speeches. And this is something I'm actually really interested to hear about. Could you share a little bit about that?
Sure. So for 22 years, I've been a speaker and I've made a lot of mistakes. And these mistakes have cost hundreds of thousands of dollars to my pocketbook. And I really, this whole time, wish I could have had a mentor that sat me down and over the course of 2.5 days taught me about how to put together the message. How to really tighten in your message so that it's compelling, so that people are leaning into it, that they're laughing, they're crying. Because when people are laughing and crying, they spend money and they get behind a mission. To go into the delivery, how do you deliver it in a way that's so compelling that people they forget their life and they just listen with such intent and they're mesmerized. The marketing, so that's the biggest aspect, which is how do you get gigs? How do you get speaking engagements? How do you get book deals? How do you get media attention? All these things that I learned the hard way. And then the last thing is, what's the overall attitude of what you need to be doing and acting like to get repeat bookings? There are a lot of great speaker trainings out there, but what I feel like mine is different is, I'm not just going to teach you how to slap some things together and be a sucky speaker so you get a bunch of first dates. I'm actually going to teach you how to put together that amazing message, powerful delivery, incredible marketing so that you get booked by events and companies over and over year after year because they love working with you. And that is the difference is, a lot of people can teach you how to get that first engagement, but not develop the relationship so that you get hired year after year, even after that person. I get this a lot where I will get hired, say like by Nike, and then that person will leave Nike, but they have such a relationship with me because of what I do and how I do it that when they get hired by a new company, say like Apple, and then they say, well, we're going to bring Sean in now to speak to Apple because they have the relationship. So the message, the delivery, the marketing, the attitude, I teach over the course of 2.5 days, and it's super fun and engaging. We actually, we reserve a theater because a lot of events are held at like hotel ballrooms, and I really want it to be special. And so we host ours in a theater where the whole theater is just us. And I bring people up on stage to try out aspects of their content, to tweak their stories, to go in detail about their message and how specifically could you market that and what would you need to do to package that in a way that would be compelling to a buyer. So all of these questions and more are dealt with. I bring in some of my mentors. We have a marketing and sales panel that I run with my mentors. We have some guest speakers that I've been speakers for years that talk about what they do to grow their company. And the premise is, how do you get into that professional category where they are paying you a minimum of $10,000 a speech? And so if people want to go check out more about that, reserve their spot before we sell out at 10kspeeches.com. That's 10kspeeches.com.
Awesome. I love this conversation today. And I didn't know we were going to go that direction, but, talking about, leaving things on the table in your business, it's definitely one of the areas in my business that I feel I leave, I turn down speaking engagements all the time, just simply because I don't think it's my strength. I don't play to it. So this is amazing to me that, because it's so true. You can get further speaking engagements. And I think there's something very different to having, people actually hear you and see you versus like video or podcasting, which are playing with my strengths.
On your platform, I'm platform agnostic. So, when I say speeches, I don't just mean keynotes, some people don't have the full budgets to bring me in. We will record videos for them and they'll play them at their conference for a reduced rate. I look at webinars as a type of a speech where people are doing it either as, a lead magnet for a back end or paid just for that exact, 1 hour or 90 minutes with the webinar presenter. So I look at it as I care less about becoming a speaker and more about being a world thought leader.
Beautiful. And thank you for that. I love it. Just as we kind of wrap it up, then I have one final question and I call it, who makes it rain, Sean? So imagine yourself in a room full of incredible online entrepreneurs and just, incredibly successful self-made entrepreneurs. So who makes it rain? Is it the one, and rain money that is it the one who has the most leads? Is it the person who can make the most sales? Or is it the person who has the best systems and automation? Which one makes it rain?
The person who's the hungriest. The person because it could be any one of those. I don't think saying that this person or that person is going to be more successful. Because if you get one person that's kind of fat and happy, they're just going to sit on their ass. And maybe they're a good closer, but they don't call enough. Another person who's really hungry, they're going to get it done. I will actually take, and when I say hungry, I mean driven. I will take a driven employee over a skilled employee any day of the week, because a driven employee will go get the skills. A skilled employee can be fat and happy, sit back on their butt and wait for things to come to them. You can't teach drive. You can teach skills. You can teach how to put together your message. You can teach how to put together the delivery, the marketing, just the overall attitude of drive. I can't teach that. A person either has drive or they don't. And that is up to them.
I usually like to end the podcast by asking, if you feel you've actually made it. And you've kind of already answered that question for us in this podcast. So I'm going to switch that up a little bit for you and ask you, Sean, what is it that keeps you driven and hungry? You could lay back right now or probably and just chill.
Sure. Well, first of all, the thing that would be disappointing about that is I wouldn't be living out my purpose. My purpose is to rid the world of insecurity. There's still a lot of freaking insecure people on this planet who are overcompensating, acting from a space of arrogance. They're trying to gratify themselves because they're not happy. They don't know how to control their own inner emotions. There's a lot of people still on the planet that don't even understand some of the bare bones fundamentals of how their mind works and how happiness is an internal experience. And so to sit back on my laurels and count my money, that would be a very boring existence because I wouldn't be living out why I was born.
Well, that's a perfect way to wrap up the podcast today. And I want to I feel like I'm just scratching the surface with you. I know you're a busy guy and you need to run. And Sean, I want to thank you for giving back today because, there are, and I meet these entrepreneurs especially for online entrepreneurs that are just, they're in the ditch, they're struggling and sometimes feeling isolated. And really the whole purpose of this podcast is to help support them and know that, it is possible. And you're a perfect prime example of that. So thank you so much for giving back today.
Oh, thank you very much. And for the person that's listening, thank you for your attention. I take your time as very important. And I hope that you check out those 2 links that we gave you and look forward to meeting you in person someday.
Hey, I want to thank you for listening today. And if you're new to the podcast, head over to thelaptoplifestylepodcast.com and hear more from 6, 7, and 8-figure online entrepreneurs. Even better, head over to iTunes, give us a rating and review, and that will help us help more aspiring online entrepreneurs. Appreciate you and see you on the next Laptop Lifestyle podcast.